Is the appointed time? I call the meeting to order. Good afternoon. Item 1 on the agenda. The information paper issued since the last meeting, that is CB bracket 3 598/25 bracket 01. That's the administration's response to the letter dated 12th of March 2025 from Mr. Michael TIEN regarding the progress of the construction projects of the recreation and sport facility in Yuen Long District. The paper issued since the last meeting has been settled on the agenda. Please note. Item 2 on the agenda, items for discussion at the next meeting. That's CB bracket 364H/2025 bracket 01. That's the list of outstanding items for discussion. LC paper number CB bracket 364H/2025 bracket 02, list of follow-up actions. The next regular meeting will be held between 4:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. on the 9th of June, Monday. The administration proposes to discuss 2 items at the meeting. The first one is the preparatory work for the 15th National Games. And while the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau said that they will propose an item for discussion later on, when the Secretariat received the relevant proposal, we will inform members. Third item, proposed amendments to the Chinese Permanent Cemeteries Rule, Cap 1112A. Would the administration and representatives from the Board of Management of the Chinese Permanent Cemeteries come into the room? Members, if you'd like to put questions, please press the button. Each of you will have 4 minutes. Would Ms. Alice Mack, Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs, walk us through the paper? Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. We're here to brief members on the proposal to the amendments of the Chinese Permanent Cemeteries Rule, CPCR 1112A. The purpose is to introduce the extendable niches arrangement of BMCPC's project, prescribe fees relevant to the operation of BMCPC, develop family gardens of ashes to optimize the use of vacant land resources, and provide for other matters relevant to the operation of BMCPC's cemeteries. BMCPC was established under the Chinese Permanent Cemeteries Ordinance, Cap 1112, is a statutory non-profit making organization. It is mainly responsible for managing 4 Chinese permanent cemeteries located in Aberdeen, Tsuen Wan, Chai Wan, and Tseung Kwan O, offering over 300,000 burial lots and niches. In order to dovetail with the extendable niche arrangement of the government, the BMCPC will make reference to the FEHD's arrangements and adopt the extendable niches arrangement. That is, the initial interment period of 20 years, which may be extended every 10 years thereafter upon expiry. This allows the BMCPC to more flexibly manage the niches and to meet the long-term demand. As there is no provisions in the ordinance that allow for extension, niches arrangement, and relevant matters, that's why we have to amend the Chinese Permanent Cemeteries rules to implement the relevant proposals and to prescribe fees. In the process, we have reviewed the positioning of CMCPC. We think that the fees for BMCPC should be higher than that of government niches and lower than private niches. We have reviewed the fee structure of BMCPC so that it can operate sustainably with sufficient revenue to support the charitable works. We have also proposed a series of management issues. We are going to convert idle grave spaces in less accessible locations into family gardens for ashes. And we're also going to introduce technical amendments to shorten the time for reversion of facilities of burial lots and niches after the removal of skeleton remains or ashes to better utilize resources. The details of the proposals have been set out in the paper. After consulting the members, we plan to introduce the bill into the LegCo for negative vetting in June 2025. Depending on the progress, the BMCPC will introduce the extendable niches arrangement in the Cheung Kwan O, or rather the Junk Bay Cemetery. We're happy to take questions from members. Thank you. I'll read out the names of members who have pressed the button. There are 5 of them: Ms. Lam So Wai, Mr. Rock Chen, Mr. Benson Look, Mr. Chen Ms. Chen Hua Yan and Ms. Nixie Lam. Each member will have 4 minutes, including question and answer. Ms. Lam So Wai. Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary. Currently, the rules allow the BMCPC to remove unclaimed ashes. The BMCPC can decide on the ways to handle the unclaimed ashes, say, for example, by scattering them. If family members, because they have migrated or for other reasons, could not extend the deposit period, the ashes of their family members may be scattered without their consent. Second, it is said that the fee schedule of BMCPC have remained unchanged since 1996, and the operational costs and construction costs have continued to rise during this period. That's why CMCPC is applying to increase the fares. I wonder if the BMCPC is experiencing a fiscal deficit, because the rate of increase is rather substantial. For family niches, the fee increase is as high as 50%. I wonder what the reserve level of BMCPC is. If the goal is to achieve a financial balance, can you disclose the breakdown of the expenditure of the BMCPC? Thank you. Secretary. Thank you for your suggestions. On the handling of unclaimed ashes, well, I will ask Mr. Mack from the BMCPC to answer that. The reason why we propose the amendment is to better assist relevant members to handle unclaimed ashes. Ms. Lam and other members here should be aware that BMCPC is a charitable organization, and there is a Chinese permanent fund under the board. It's true that we have not been able to achieve a fiscal balance. Over the past 30 years, the fees for niche has not been changed. However, the construction and operational costs have continued to rise. So what did the BMCPC rely on for their operation? Well, they actually relied on a charitable fund under the board. And the fund relies on investment return. But as we all know, the financial situation is worsening, and given the tightened geopolitical tensions, the investment return has not been stable recently. In order to make sure that BMCPC can continue to provide charitable services, we need to ensure sustainable revenue for the board. We hope that BMCPC will be able to enjoy a stable stream of revenue so that they can continue to provide their services without relying solely on their reserve. The reason why we amend the CPCR is to introduce the extendable niches arrangement. Since 2019, FEHD introduced the relevant arrangement so that niches can be extended upon expiry. Madam Chair, can I explain further, please? In order to meet the growing public demand for niches, that's why we propose to implement this extendable niches arrangement. And we are reviewing the positioning of the burial lots and niches of BMCPC. If we don't clearly delineate the position of the BMCPC, then we may not be able to review the fees very effectively. And we think that the niches offered by the BMCPC should be priced higher than those of FEHD, but significantly lower than those of private cemeteries. So apart from introducing this new extendable niches arrangement and new fee structures, we are going to reposition the niches and burial lots of BMCPC so that they can continue to meet public demand. This will also allow BMCPC to have sufficient resources to continue to provide services to the public. Mr. Mek. Thank you. First, on the handling of ashes upon cremation, while the BMCPC will offer enough buffer and flexibility for the members of the public, we believe that the issues can be solved. For details, I will ask Ms. Lee, our Head of Operations, to explain. Thank you. Before the expiry of the burial lots and niches, we will start contacting the allottees of the niches and burial grounds. We'll send them letters and we will post notice at the burial grounds to inform the allottee that they have to either remove the ashes or extend their license. Originally, we were asked to publish and put up notice in the Gazette and put up advertisements in the Chinese and English newspapers in order to inform the allocatee of the expiry period. Upon expiry, there will be 6 years' time for the allocatees to renew their licenses. We will send SMS, we will send letters to the niche allocatees because we will be made aware of the emergency contact information of the burial lots and niches so that they can handle the ashes on their own. Only when we were absolutely unable to reach out to the allocatee will we dispose of the ashes by our own means. Mr. Rock Chan, thank you. I'd like to ask what happens when no next of kin extend the lots or niches. After the BMCPC has taken care of the ashes, the next of kin or family members of the deceased may suddenly appear and claim damages from BMCPC. I think that we should take this opportunity to improve the standards and procedures so that there won't be any family members of the deceased claim damages from you. Second, sometimes there could people may fail to be allotted to burial lots even after drawing for 1 to 3 to 10 rounds. Shouldn't you allocate an extra quotas or priority to people who have participated in the draw many times?
Secretary, can I defer to Mr. Mack for the details? Well, to answer the member's question, whether you're drawing lots for a burial ground or a niche, for the sake of fairness, everybody stands the same chance when it comes to the drawing of lots, so the chance is equal. There may be applicants that are trying to draw lots many times, and there are also cases in which it's a matter of removal of the ashes. So we try to take into account different scenarios. We believe that the current arrangement is fair, so everybody is treated the same when it comes to the drawing of lots. Well, Chair, it is exactly this matter of everybody being given the same chance. It may be that somebody has been applying for one slot for 10 years or 10 times, and yet you still give the same opportunity to them. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for your question. After the meeting, we can take up the matter with the CPC. Well, I think probably the staff members are of the view that such an arrangement would be fair, but in fact, in actual operation, there may be an issue as outlined by Mr. Chen. I promise to reconsider the suggestion and enhance the arrangements. I think the main point is that even though somebody failed to get a slot for the first time, he or she would like to have one allocated on the third or the fourth occasion. What about the renewal of the extendable niche, Mr. Mack? Yes, as to the treatment of the ashes. Upon expiry of the lease, we will make reference to the FEHD's arrangements. The CPC BM will be given sufficient authorization to avoid disputes. When we make the rules, this will be given full consideration. Mr. Benson, look. Thank you, Chair. In relation to the proposed amendments to the CPCR, I think one part will affect the public, and that's in relation to the adjustments of the fees for the niches. Of course, we appreciate that for the BMCPC, other than operating different columbariums and other facilities, well, in fact, the CPC has been providing a lot of social services and has been helping by means of making donations. So we have to bear in mind its financial sustainability. When I took a look of the paper, I think for 30 years the fees have not been adjusted. I think this is quite rare for any product or service in the market. So taking the basket of factors into account, the fee increase proposals are but reasonable. But still, the users may want to know, and bear in mind that the rate of increase is quite substantial, despite the fact that for 30 years they haven't increased the fees. Would you consider providing additional services for the existing users? And then as to the idea of having a new facility called Family Gardens for Ashes, well, of course, we know it is a matter of maximizing the land resources, and we can also cater for the different needs of families and the citizens. I think it is an innovative idea under the BMCPC. It is like a land burial plus ash niches. And then you said that for grave spaces in less accessible locations, that would be the location for the family gardens for ashes. Can you be more exact about the locations? And do you have a limitation on the number of sets of ashes? Does it mean that I can have the ashes put into a container and buried there, and I may also scatter the ashes there? Am I right? Thank you, Mr. Luke, for your points. You are right. In relation to the FGFA, or prior to that, in relation to proposed amendments to the CPCR, as the member has suggested, we don't just look at the fees. We didn't just review the fees themselves. Well, there are other amendments to allow the CPC more power, or in fact sufficient powers, so as to deal with the removal of the human remains, exhumed or ashes, so that we can shorten the time taken to process the renewal applications, etc. So we really hope that through the amendments to the CPCR, the facilities under the CPC can be repositioned. Of course, financially, as I have said, for the CPC, it is self-sufficient financially. We also hope that they are having financial stability, and we would like to maximize the use of facilities under its jurisdiction. Well, for the FGFA, probably we're talking about grave spaces higher up, or it may be a matter of burial ground, but then it may be too narrow, or it is triangular in shape, and then descendants may not want to use them. For such spaces, even though they are offered for drawing lots, seldom have they been taken up. So we'd like to have them converted into FGFA. It may be too narrow, too tight for a coffin, but then we can have it as a place for the ashes to be scattered or contained in urns among family members. So as I have said, we don't just set our eyes on the fees. We'll also like to make good use of the facilities under the CPC. Well, what about the details? Do you impose a limit on the number of sets of ashes when it comes to the family gardens for ashes? It depends. It depends on the way you deal with it. If it is a matter of scattering the ashes, is one thing. Another thing is that you may want to accommodate the urns, and we can accommodate 35 to 40 urns. Ms. Rebecca Chen. Well, the CPC has been providing reasonably priced niches. I agree with you in relation to the proposal to introduce extendable niches. We know that the government has been facing the problem of inadequate niches. Under the BMCPC, there are 4 facilities, and you will be having the extendable niches in Cheng Kwan O and Chun Wan. What about the other 2 cemeteries? Will it be done by phases? Now you would like to amend CAP 1112A. I want to know when you will be able to cover all the 4 cemeteries. For the Catholic cemeteries, I think last year they made use of the burial grounds. There are more cremations than land burials, so they tried to turn a burial lot for a coffin size into 18 spaces, and then the urns for the ashes will be degradable, and then a decade years time down the road, all the ashes will return to nature. I think such a move from the Catholic cemeteries is good. I think for burial grounds, well, in fact, we're able to change people's culture and habits. Cremation is the mainstream. Few people are choosing or opting for land burials. So would you like to consider following the practice of the Catholic cemetery? Now, I know that you can accommodate 6 sets of ashes in the case of a family niche. Please tell us the ratio of family niches, and have they been fully utilized? Sometimes we may have smaller families and you may not have as many as 6 members in a family. So do you have any flexibilities there? Thank you, Ms. Chen, for your question. First of all, as to why we're saying that we would like to try it out in 2 cemeteries only. This is because those 2 cemeteries are going to get new facilities. For the other cemeteries under the CPC, should there be new niches available, they will only be extendable, except the existing permanent niches already in place. Otherwise, for any newly available extendable niches, they will be extendable. What about reusing them? If it is permanent, then we are going to reuse it, but there are very few of them. Only a very small number of them are such. And then for the sustainable approaches of burial. For the CPC, other than burial lots as well as the niches, we have also got a garden for scattering ashes. If we have time later on, maybe we can ask the BMCPC representatives to give us a briefing. For the family niches, there aren't too many of them, but maybe our team members can also tell you about the ratio. We are not turning all the niches into family niches. We know that the market's demand is mainly for ordinary niches. So maybe I can defer to my team members for the details. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Secretary. For our niches, there are about 290,000 niches. Among the 290,000 of them, almost all of them have been allocated, out of which 200,000 are ordinary ones, and about 77,000 are family niches. For the new facilities to be completed, we would like to give priority to providing family niches. What about the other question? We have got gardens of remembrance to allow for the scattering of ashes. It is free. Family members only have to pay a small fee, and then you may have the name to be attached to a nameplate. We have got such a facility in Chun Wan and Chang Kwan O. For Chai Wan and Aberdeen, they are older cemeteries where we haven't got a proper place to have such a garden of remembrance. The one at Chang Kwan O is quite good in terms of the design. Other than scattering the ashes, we would also like to sort of promote the filial values of the Chinese people. So that's what we have been promoting. Thank you.
Ms. Nixie Lam. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask about family garden for niche for ashes. And it is said that there will be a licensee and it will serve as a permanent repositories for ashes on a family basis. I'd like to know more about the arrangement. And it is said that upon expiry of the internment period, If the BMCPC cannot identify the next of kin of family members, then the BMCPC will dispose of the ashes by green burial means. So are you going to first reach out to the related persons before you dispose of the ashes? Because some people may, due to various reasons, have left Hong Kong. They may not be able to extend their niches. What kind of arrangements will you put in place to prevent such issues? Secretary. Thank you. During our review, we looked into these issues, and we've talked to BMCPC on how they should, say, reach out to the allocatees, how they should talk to the next of kin, and when they should affix the notice on the graves or niches. I will ask the BMCPC to explain in detail about the arrangement. Thank you. Regarding how we're going to notice the related persons, well, 2 years before expiry of the interment period, we're going to send letters to the allocatees. When the interment period is about to expire, we're going to put up notice. So apart from the allocatees, family members who come to pay tribute to the deceased may notify the licensee about the expiry period. After the interment period expired, we will still continue to reach out to the licensees or allocatees. We are also required to put up notices on the Gazette, Chinese and English newspapers. Meanwhile, we will continue to send emails, letters, SMS to the related persons, as well as the emergency contact person. So what happens if the allocatees or licensees has passed away? We do have a mechanism for that. If the allocatees passed away, their next of kin can reach out to us. They can let us know that, say, for example, the allocatees has passed away and that relevant person is related to the deceased. They should provide us with the documentary evidence. Then we, upon receipt of these documents, we're going to allow them to change the titles. Let me supplement. Our arrangements is in alignment with that of the FEHD. We will provide maximum flexibility for the people. We will keep in touch with them. We believe that there will be ample time for us to handle such cases. To put it simply, the relevant extendable niches arrangements was implemented in 2019 with the support of the LegCo. The BMCPC will implement the relevant arrangement this year. So the first batch of niches will expire in 20 years. But in, say, starting from this 17th year, we're going to put up notice at the niches and burial lots. For people who come to pay tribute to the deceased, they would know when the niches or burial lots is going to expire. There may be changes in technology where we may have to notice the related persons and other means, but we try our best to inform the next of kin as early as possible. Mr. Ma Fong-kwok. Thank you, Madam Chair. I support converting idle grave spaces in less accessible locations into family gardens for ashes. However, there's no details on the management of these facilities in the paper. Who is going to bear the cost of maintenance of the family gardens for ashes? Will the users have to pay the fees Is there any procedures for ash scattering or interment? And the time for reversion of facilities after removal of skeleton remains or ashes is going to be shortened from 3 months to 1 month. It may be difficult for the next of kin who have moved away from Hong Kong. Should we allow them more time to revert the facilities? Thank you. I will ask Mr. Mack to elaborate. Thank you. Regarding family gardens for ashes, that's like any other burial lots and grounds. The family members will be responsible for managing the grave spaces. For, say, barriers, the platforms, we're going to maintain them. For spaces outside the grave space and grave lot, we are going to maintain it. The arrangement is the same as for other cemeteries. The size of the family gardens for ashes is 900 mm to 900 mm. That's the same as the size of urn grave lot. So members of the public may either choose to just scatter the ashes or put up a aluminum shelf that can accommodate, say, 5 to 6 sets of ashes. When the people have to add more sets of ashes, then they will just have to, well, they won't have to, say, remove the entire grave. Same for scattering of ashes. If a new set of ashes is to be scattered, they will just have to add a new name plaque. This is a rather flexible approach to allow the family members to design their grave. And it will allow them to incorporate their, say, philosophy or history into the design of the grave. I think that this is a breakthrough. What about the time for reversion? If the applicant chooses to relocate the remains or ashes, we try to shorten the time for reversion so that we can allocate the space faster. For next of kin of related persons that could not be accessed, we have to, well, we will still try our best to reach out to them, but we want to achieve a better resource utilization. Well, time for reversion is not the same as time for notification. We're referring to the time between the removal of remains or ashes and the reallocation of it. Mr. Yu Pak Lun. Thank you. I, in general, support the amendments to the CPCR. For regular burial lots, that is now costing 280,000. Currently, it's going to cost 18,000. I think that the increase is rather substantial. I'd like to know more about the demand for ordinary niches. For footnote 14, it is said that BMCPC only allocated 28 ordinary lots that are permanent in 2024. Some of them are still unsold, and some of them have been returned by permittee. Will the permittee be refunded part of the fees when they return their lots? I'd like to know how we can, say, increase the turnover of our lots. Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Yu. I will ask Mr. Mack to elaborate. Thank you for your question. Our culture has changed. There aren't that many people opt for a ground burial. Different families may have different demand. These days, there are very few people who choose ground burial. We calculate the rate of increase for the fees based on the Consumer Price Index. There will not be any refund despite permittees relocating their ashes or remains of the family members. As mentioned by the Secretary, the BMCPC rely on our investment return to fill the deficit. To be frank, over the past 1 or 2 decades, our operational deficit is as high as $80 million per year. We fully rely on our investment return to fill the gap. For burial lots and ashes, permittees don't have to pay any maintenance or cleaning fees. For the area inside the grave space, the related persons have to be responsible but for the remainder, we are responsible. We think that we need to have a reasonable fees for leasing or selling the grave lots and grave space in order to achieve a fiscal balance. Members have asked about the construction cost of niches. For the Chunwan project, it costs $30,000 to construct one niche. Thank you. Madam Chair, so I believe that there are very few permittees who return their lots. Am I right? Yes. Some permittees, after they have moved homes or migrated, they may return their lots, but that's not common. So it's very difficult for us to achieve turnover because, well, when people say remove the ashes and remains and move them to their countryside in the mainland, then you may make available the lots for reallocation. Yes, with the family guidance for ashes, that will make it more convenient for related persons of the deceased to, say, centralize the ashes of their family and make available niches for reallocation. Thank you. Next is my turn. I have some policy questions. Currently, FEHD is responsible for managing the allocation of public niches, and HYAB is the chair of the BMCPC and is managing 4 Chinese permanent cemeteries. So this amendment shows that the BMCPC is now trying to align their arrangements with FEHD. So I'd like to ask the Secretary to further align the practice between a BMCPC and the FEHD cemeteries. Thank you. As I mentioned, we take this opportunity to introduce this new extendable niches arrangement. And review the management of BMCPC's facilities. And to look into the positioning of the BMCPC and compare it with that of FEHD and private cemeteries. We want to distinguish the facilities under BMCPC from that of FEHD. The fees for BMCPC will be higher than that of FEHD, but lower, significantly lower than that of private cemeteries. With this clearer positioning, BMCPC will be able to further develop. We propose this idea of family gardens for ashes in order to offer alternatives for users of FHD facilities. If we have to use the same facility in private cemeteries, it will cost a lot. That's why we try to implement this family gardens in BMCPC to cater to public demand. This will allow scattering of ashes of the same family in the gardens. It will be difficult for us to have this same family gardens for ashes in FEHD cemeteries. With the support of the LegCo, we will be able to develop this idea and to make better use of our land resources. By this, the same family can go to pay tribute to their ancestors together. This will also meet the needs of different people. That's why we have introduced this new extendable niches arrangement while reviewing the positioning of the BMCPC under this amendment.
Thank you, Secretary. Ms. Lam So-wai would like to have a second round. We have got adequate time. I will still give you 4 minutes for both Q&A. Thank you, Chair. Just a quick follow-up. Mr. Mack, the Executive Director, tackled the question about the financial arrangements. I've got a question about the family gardens for ashes. Indeed, I agree that some families may want to have the ashes of their members to be put together. But then sometimes the ashes of the ashes of earlier ancestors may be placed at a different place. There may be worries about feng shui. So how are you going to tackle that question? I can appreciate Ms. Lam's question. That is, if we have the family gardens for ashes, then for ancestors who have got a burial ground or niche in our facilities, then it requires removal of the human remains or the ashes. You don't need to worry because the CPC is very experienced here. Now we have got a new concept under the FGFA, and in fact the removal isn't something new. Of course, the removal itself has to be carried out by the family. They may want to choose an auspicious date, etc. So we know that they have special requirements, but still our their staff members will assist the family members in doing this. They are experienced. Would Mr. Mack like to say more? Yes, relocation or removal of the ashes or the human remains. Well, this is something that we have been doing all the time. For extendable or non-extendable burial grounds, you need to exhume the human remains for cremation. And then sometimes for facilities that have been there for a long time, maybe they would like to centralize the ashes, etc. So removal as well as relocation is common, and it won't cause any sort of bad feelings. Probably, as Ms. Mack has said, the family members may want to choose a particular date. Any other questions? No? Then in that case, we will move on to another agenda item. Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank members for their input, and we'll have it by way of negative vetting in relation to the proposed amendments. Thank you, Secretary. That takes us to the second item on the agenda for discussion, and that's in relation to the proposed retention of one-time limited supernumerary directorate posts in the Sports and Recreation branch of the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau for overseeing the operation of Kai Tak Sports Park and taking forward other sports policy initiatives. Public officers will be invited to join us, and members who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button. Each of you will be given 4 minutes for both Q&A. Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Rislin Lau from the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau. He's the Undersecretary. Thank you, Chair. Would like to retain one-time limited supernumerary directorate post in the Sports and Recreation branch for the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau, and it's a AO Staff Grade C post for 3 years from 1st January 2026 to 31st of December 2028. We are responsible for formulating, implementing policy objectives of sports development, namely to promote sports in the community, support elite sports, promote Hong Kong as a center for major international sports events, and enhance professionalism and develop sports as an industry. Well, in fact, for this particular post holder, it is responsible for overseeing the management of the sports park, and he's also responsible for the M-Mark events. He's responsible for overseeing land issues pertaining to sports and recreation, the planning of the facilities, as well as the management of Sir Derek Trench Fund, the main fund, as well as the housekeeping matters of the LCSD. On the 1st of March this year, the Kai Tak Sports Park has been formally commissioned. It's become the new hub for sports and recreational activities. In the light of the significance of the venue, we need the post holder to oversee the performance of the operator to make sure that everything is smooth and you will meet the operation contract requirements from the government. The construction has basically been completed, and then for the post in relation, I think the workload would grow. With the completion of the construction, we are not going to seek retention of the government architect post, which is time limited and which will lapse on the 1st of July 2025. The time limited AOSGC post will take over the remaining tasks, and in fact will further enhance the quality of the M-Mark events, will enhance its attractiveness to tourists. And in fact, this post holder has to lead a team to have another round of enhancement to make better use of public resources so as to drive economic development and to promote mega event economy. We need this post for the next 3 years, and at the strategy level, so as to promote Hong Kong as a hub both for mega events as well as sports events. Therefore, we propose to retain this post, which is a time-limited post for 3 years, from 1st January 2026 to 31st of December 2028. If approved by members, we will refer this retention proposal to the ESC under the FC. We'll also seek the endorsement of the FC. Thank you. Thank you, Undersecretary. 4 members indicated they wish to speak. First of all, Mr. Vincent Jang, followed by Mr. Benson Look, and sorry, Michael Look, and then Mr. Yu Park Leung, and then Mr. Benson Look. 4 minutes each for both your questions and answers. Vincent. Thank you, Chair. I'm in support of the retention of this post. I would like to thank the public officers involved for launching the various mega events like Hong Kong Rugby 7, etc. Therefore, I know that his plate will be full. There will be a lot to be done. It is a time-limited post. I cannot understand why you come time and again to retain and extend the post. In the past, we're told that the post holder has to oversee the construction of the Kai Tak Sports Park. Now, if you look at the job description, take M Plus scheme. Under M Plus, it will go beyond the current 3 years. Say, for example, the horse events, and then you want to have new facilities for fencing, and then for the private recreational leases, again, a lot to be done. If you care to read the organization chart, you have many people under you, and yet the post holder is having a post which is not a substantive post. How come that you are still seeking retention time and again? Well, of course, finances are tight, and you may want to, at the same time, you want to promote tourism. I just wonder why you don't make it a permanent post. Another question is, for your sports portfolio, I think it is divided into 2 branches. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think one is about mega events, the other is about elite sports. My understanding is that for the sports policy of the government, we would like to develop elite sports as well as mega events. But then for the last 2 years, we also talked about professionalism and turning it into an industry. Can you not have the 2 branches combined into one? Now, we need a lot of people to deal with the tasks like data, development, sports medicine, etc., so that we can take it even further. Mr. Lau, Undersecretary, 2 questions. I would like to thank the member for his questions. I think the member is right. In the year 2014, the post was first created, and it was renewed for a number of times. We can see that there is quite a long-term need for this post. But then at the same time, given the current economic situation and the government's public finances position, it is the attention of the public. So at this very sensitive moment, we believe that it is better to go by way of seeking retention of the post than turning it into permanent. Of course, depending on the developments in the coming 3 years, say for example the workload, etc., we'll then try to see if we need to turn it into a permanent post. As to the second part of the question, I would like to defer to the Commissioner for Sports. Making it professional and having elite sports entail a lot of work. We are making use of our existing resources. For details, I would like to defer to the Commissioner for Sports, Mr. Choi. Well, as far as our policies are concerned, in fact, they're all integrated. Whether we want to talk about promoting sports in the community or supporting elite sports, we need to make Hong Kong a center for major international sports events. So all the elements are interrelated. As to the current arrangement, under SR division, the 2 PAS have got a division of labor. Well, for us today, it is mainly about the international sports events. Well, of course, this is also a indispensable condition for promoting sports in the community. Thank you.
I don't want us to discuss the same position once every 2 years. I think that it's better for you to turn this post into a permanent one. I don't think anyone would oppose to making this post permanent because it will help us attract business. Undersecretary, thank you, Mr. Chang, for your great suggestion. We're going to talk to the CSB about this. Next, Mr. Lok Chung-hong. Thank you. Madam Chair, we have to promote sports in the community, support elite sport, making Hong Kong as a center for major international sports event, enhance professionalism, and develop sports as an industry. Well, I think that it's better for you to just turn this post into a permanent one. Now, coming back to this supernumerary directorate post that is time limited, one of the functions of this post holder is to supervise the planning of public infrastructures, including the 10-year development blueprint for sports and recreation facilities. We've been talking about touting of venues, and that happened because of insufficient supply of venues in Hong Kong. After this post has been extended and retained, can we then have more venues for sports? We don't need very prestigious sports venues. We just need a simple tennis court or for people to use. Some items may not be included in Phase 1 under the 10-year development blueprint for sports and recreation facilities, such as the Area 16 sports premises in Tuen Mun. The residents there have been looking forward to the sports center for a long time. It's now still a bus depot. On private recreational leases, we have a lot of premier sports club in Hong Kong. I hope that the government will encourage regular sports club to open up their venues for public use. I helped a football club identify a place to practice near a reservoir. Should the government not encourage community sports club to offer venues for others to practice? Undersecretary, thank you for the question. Regarding the 10-year development blueprint, our colleagues is taking forward each and every projects in the plan. But most of the facilities are joint use facilities. Say, for example, at the same site, there will be different departments using the same premises. At the Hoi Yun Road complex, we have the community hall, car parks, and sports venues. Different groups and government departments may have different needs, and we need to coordinate their demand. Some people question if we really need that many parking spaces, for example. So from planning to design to consultation of the projects, it takes a long time. We definitely want to expedite the implementation of the development blueprint. But as we all know, because of our tight fiscal position, we have to prioritize projects that are in demand or in severe shortage. And we may have to postpone or delay some of the public works projects. We have to reprioritize. our works. On private recreational leases, the members ask us to ask community sports club to make available their venues for other groups to use. We're willing and happy to work with these sports clubs. We're going to give them policy support to solve any issues that they may have. We will continue to step up our efforts in this area. Next, Mr. Yeo Pak Leun. Thank you, Madam Chair. Regarding this proposal to retain this position of AOSGCD to PAS Sports and Recreation 2 for 3 years, I support it because the workload of the Sports and Recreation branch is very heavy, and I think that the functions of this post holder is of paramount importance. I have been concerned about the sports plus tourism development. Under the 10-year development blueprint, it is said that sports plus tourism is an important direction, and it will allow us to create new tourism products. At Kai Tak Sports Park, we see the outcome of our efforts in developing sports plus tourism and culture plus tourism. So apart from supervising the operation of the Kai Tak Sports Park, how is the post holder going to promote integration of sports and tourism? Do we have any KPI? Should we say further incentivize organizers of mega events to apply for their events to be recognized as M-marked events? That will allow us to give full play to our mega events economy. I hope that the post holder will look at this from a business perspective, instead of just acting as a supervisor. After the Kai Tak Sports Park has commissioned, we have organized a series of world-renowned sports events and musical concerts. They have been very successful. I'm concerned about the transport and traffic issues. I see that it was very smooth. The road traffic was not congested. I think that's because of our overly stringent supervision. The parking lot is completely closed off during events. Now people are familiar about where they can get on and get off taxis. Now the sports park have been commissioned for quite some time. Should we, say, relax some of the arrangements to allow vehicle operators to, say, have their VIPs disembark at a designated area for parking space at Kai Tak Arena? Should we open them up during events to allow some people to get to the venue more conveniently? It's hard for us to ask everyone to use public transport or train. In order for us to enhance a visitor's experience, we need parking spaces that makes it more convenient for visitors to leave and enter the venue. Thank you. Under Secretary. Let me take the second part, and I will ask the Commissioner for Sports to talk about the progress of M-Mark system review. Thank you. To put it simply, the Kai Tak Sports Park was commissioned on the 1st of March this year. Our focus during the initial stage of commissioning is to have it operate successfully and smoothly. We try to evacuate the crowd smoothly after each and every event, and we try to familiarize the members of the public of the arrangements. That's our goal as of right now. After the sports park has been commissioned for quite some time and people are used to the arrangement, we're going to make things more convenient for visitors and locals. We will put in place improved measures for different groups of people, that measures that cater for, say, overseas visitors, that cater for VIPs. We may have different measures for them. Mr. Choi, Commissioner. Thank you. Let me talk about the traffic arrangements. After mega events has been held at Kai Tak Sports Park, as mentioned by Mr. Yu, at the initial stage of the opening, we tried to put in place a more stringent traffic arrangements. We will be making adjustment. After Rugby Sevens, we had 2 major musical concerts. We have collaborated with the hotel trade. They arranged vehicles and coaches that can pick up and drop off passengers at Kai Tak Sports Park. We originally only have 1 pick-up and drop-off spots for taxi. Now we have 3. People are getting used to the arrangement. Mr. Yu asked about the parking lot at Kai Tak Arena. We were worried that if the car park is opened during mega events, vehicles may try to queue for parking spaces and loiter around to find one. We are going to put in place a booking system for vehicle owners and drivers to book a space prior to any mega events. We want to make things convenient for locals and also overseas visitors. That's our plan in the future. Mr. Yu also asked about the application scrutiny of MMARC system. We look at the economic benefits driven by the MMARC system, and we all along have been working with the tourism trade. After the event is organized, we ask the organizers to submit a report. We encourage the organizers to work with the trade with the arrangement that we have under the MMARC system. Mr. Benson Look, thank you. Regarding this retention of this time-limited supernumerary directorate post of AOSGCD 2 PS Sports and Recreation 2, that is mainly responsible for overseeing the Kai Tak Sports Park and supervising the implementation of sports-related policies. I support it. I believe that the administration has struck a balance. I have 2 questions. First, this PAS, Sports and Recreation 2, have so many duties. The first one is to provide policy inputs and guidance to the operation of the Kai Tak Sports Park. As the operation of the park is becoming smoother, I believe that the post holder should not just supervise or provide guidance. They have to, for example, promote and improve the sports park so that it can generate benefits to the economy. On how we can improve the operation of the sports park, as people are used to how they can get to the sports park, I believe that we have to make the traffic and transport arrangement more convenient. We have VIP box at the sports park. Currently, it's very difficult for corporations to pick up and drop off their VIPs at the sports park. VIPs have higher arrangements. I'd like to know more about the relevant arrangement. Second, how can we turn people flow into business opportunities? Now, crowds is evacuating very quickly after each and every event at the sports park. But more importantly, how can we drive people to Kowloon City, To Kwa Wan, and the business there so that we can vitalize district economy? Is this under the purview of this PAS? Because currently we only see signs showing people where they can take a bus, take a taxis or MTRs. There are very few signage showing people where to shop, for example. Thank you.
個問題。
The Deputy Chairman has got two questions. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Member, for your questions. For the first stage, we try to play safe, and then coming up, would like to enhance our arrangements, like the corporate clients, the concierge services for the VIPs, etc. So we hope that they will have a very good experience at Kai Tak Sports Park. I agree with Mr. Look that is perhaps the Kai Tak Sports Park can facilitate in the completion of business deals because with the VIP boxes, many important businessmen will be there. So we hope we can facilitate the completion of business deals. As to the connection with the neighboring areas and how we can promote the business around the sports park, our PAS may take part in this part of work because he or she is closely related to the operator of the Kai Tak Sports Park. So the post holder will urge the sports park to do so. When it comes to the development of district local economy, I think the district officers have to play their role. Now, we have got such an excellent venue with so many visitors as to how the visitors will be attracted to the nearby retailers and catering facilities. I think it takes the initiatives from the restaurants as well as the shops. And the sports park itself will try to tie in with the efforts of the retailers as well as the F&B operators. Mr. Kenneth Lau. Well, quite a number of mega events have taken place. Coldplay had a concert, Nicholas Che had a concert, we had the Hong Kong Rugby 7. We know that there are many bookings for the sports park. So I agree that there is a continuous need to oversee the operation of the sports park. So I support the retention of the post, which is time limited. I want to ask a question about the upcoming expiry of the private recreational leases. 26 will be up for renewal. Most of them will have their leases expiring in the years 2026-2027. So can you share with us as to the factors you take into account when you grant approval for the renewal application? And what about opening up their facilities to the public? Well, in Hong Kong, I think we do take it seriously when it comes to culture, sports, and tourism. So we just want to know whether the private sports clubs can still stay on the leased land and survive. Maybe the commissioner can take this question. For the PRL policy, in fact, this will be taken up by the post holder of our proposal in this paper. In the year 2018, there was a comprehensive review, and upon completion of the review in the year 2019, we came to a conclusion. When we consider the existing PRL, one important factor would be its contribution to our sports development. So we want to know whether this particular club has been able to help with the sports development in Hong Kong. This is the most fundamental and most significant consideration. Post-2018 consultation, we will ask, and we have asked, the leaseholders to open up some of their facilities for community users. And this will be taken into account when we consider whether they're contributing to our sports development. After all, they are making use of the precious land resources. They should contribute to the society. So to a certain extent, they should open up their facilities for community users. Of course, we'll be talking about eligible organizations. As to the duration of the lease, etc., I think there was already a clear decision back in 2019. For the post holder, he will have a dialogue with the clubs and thus get ready for the renewal applications in 2026 and 2027. We have got 64 such PRLs. Every year we carry out annual inspection visits and we have supervisory meetings with their management. For each and every lease document, we have got conditions and terms, and we ask the leaseholders to meet all the requirements. So after the inspection rounds, we always have the chance to sit down with the management to go through the so-called checklist to check for compliance. Thank you. Mr. Houghton Chow. Thank you, Chair. Now, the post will be retained as proposed. I think the post holder will provide policy inputs and guidance to the operator on the operation of the Kai Tak Sports Park. He will also support the work of the Major Sports Events Committee and their M-Mark system. I think quite a number of events have been successful as far as the Kai Tak Sports Park is concerned. And then for the Hong Kong Rugby 7, I think more tickets were sold than previously. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think when Rugby 7 was hosted in Hong Kong, we saw that there were many more overseas visitors in our streets than before. I understand that for Kai Tak Sports Park, there will be musical concerts as well as other mega events in addition to sports events. What about the mega sports events like Hong Kong Rugby 7? I think we can see for ourselves the benefits brought to us, and we're able to attract fans from all over the world. Are there other sports that we can achieve the same results? What about cricket? I think all around the world, in many cities, it is a sensation and has attracted a lot of visitors. So would you consider this? Are you going to explore the feasibility of having it here? Now, will the post holder be exploring the possibility? For established events like Rugby 7, it's good to keep them. But what about other potential mega sports events? For soccer, etc. Yes, you have been doing quite a lot. But what about new items? which have got great potential, so that we can attract many more overseas visitors. So would you consider that? That's the only point I want to raise. Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lau. Thank you, Chair. I can't agree with Mr. Chow more for Hong Kong Sevens. It is our Hong Kong brand. It has come a long way from its early days, and now that they have got a much better venue, I'm sure the scale can be enlarged, and it is good to see that a profit can be made. We want to turn sports into an industry. By making a profit, then they will be motivated to expand it, and others will also try to come. Mr. Chow is right to point out that cricket has been successfully hosted in Hong Kong, and last month there was a global live broadcast of a cricket event held in Hong Kong. I think the sports park is able to provide many more business opportunities. We are here to provide support. Whenever whoever needs our support, we will provide it. And then should there be sports clubs that are interested in using the sports park, we are happy to come into contact with them and provide the help necessary. Any other members wishing to speak? If not, then I'll just check with you if anybody would object to the proposal from the government in this paper. No? Then the administration will refer this establishment proposal to the ESC under the FC for their scrutiny. Anything under AOB? Nothing. All right. In that case, I would say that meeting is adjourned. Thank you.